All right, everybody, welcome to Word on the Street. Trey Griggs here from Beta Consulting Group, episode 152 of the Word on the Street. We got a great show today. We got a lot of stuff coming your way, and so it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's go. All right, what's up, everybody? Again, Trey Griggs here with Beta Consulting Group. So excited to have you with us today. It is Friday. It's Finish Strong Friday. Be sure to follow us on social media and see what's going on. If you get a chance, go check us out at betaconsultinggroup.com. See how we are helping freight brokers and logistics tech companies clarify their message. So important. The words that you use in your sales and marketing, we're here to help. Also, want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Green Screens, for making this possible. Listen, if you're a freight broker and you're not using Green Screens for pricing, make sure you reach out to them today and see how they're changing the game with machine learning and artificial intelligence. Check them out at greenscreens.ai and be sure to tell them that you heard about them right here on Word on the Street. Plus, we're going to put a link into the comments if you want to click on that to learn more information and go directly to the website. Be sure to do that. All right, listen, we've had a great week this week. We've had some great shows on Standing Out on Tuesday and on Thursday. You can go back and watch those on review. And next week, everybody, is TIA. And we're going to be down in Orlando at the Lowe's Pacific Resort right near Universal Studios for an incredible week. I got the chance to talk to Enrique just yesterday on an Instagram Live, and she said they're up to over 1,800 registrants, which is the most I think they've ever had. We're hoping to get to close to 2,000. So again, if you are a freight broker or logistics technology company and you're not signed up for TIA, you're going to miss the party. Make sure you go to tianet.org/meetings. Learn more about the event, register, and we will see you down in Orlando. Starts on Wednesday, goes through Friday. And if you happen to be there on Tuesday next week, I might be putting together a little golf tournament. So if you'd like to play golf, let me know. Send me a DM and we'll get you into the tee times. All right, today's show. Super excited about today's show because we're going to talk about something that is fresh and new and some applications to this that are just absolutely amazing. So please welcome to the show from Parade, Anthony Sutardja. Anthony, what's up, man?
Hey, Trey.
How are you? I don't know if you like this song or not, but we like to throw a little music up there when we bring guests on. So, you know, that's the way it works. Coming to us from San Francisco, my friend. What's going on? What's good?
It's Friday. It's sunny. Can't complain on both those things.
It's sunny where you are all the time, pretty much. I mean, you know, not like us Midwesterners here. We're just now getting sun. In fact, I went on a walk just the other day, and I got sunburned from a walk. That's how bad it is here because we don't get much sun in the winter. So that's just the way it goes. You're going to be at TIA coming up, right?
I will. Yep. I'm excited.
And I see that Easter says that you're going to be in booth 711. So if you guys are out there, make sure you go to booth 711 and check out what's going on in Parade. Why don't you take a moment and tell everybody a little bit about yourself, but also what's going on at Parade right now?
Yeah. Well, my name is Anthony. I'm the CEO of Parade, and we have been building tools for brokers to enable them to get a little more supercharged with technologies and primarily focused on helping the brokers cover freight. So how do you build carrier relationships faster? How do you get smarter on those carriers? How do you automate the booking process and improve those gross margin dollars? Better left maybe at TIA to better unpack some of what we do there.
Yeah, and I remember the first time I heard about Parade was a while back, but you guys were doing a lot of OCR with emails. You guys were reading emails and pulling loads, pulling capacity, I think, or something like that from carriers. There was a lot of that going on. What are you guys focusing on right now?
That's where we got our start, in reading emails. And so everyone gets these truck list emails from the truckers out there. And they say, hey, I've got a truck in Dallas. And so we read those emails, process them for capacity, and then help the brokers automatically respond to them or tuck it away for later so that they know that this piece of data is available for use in the future. And that's where we got our start, but that's only one way of managing capacity. How else do you need to manage capacity? It's being able to enter your lane preferences. It's being able to store the available trucks. It's being able to access all the different load boards. And so over time, we've built up this platform of ways to manage capacity for our broker customers. And so came from just emails, but now it's gone all the way through on being able to enable carriers to book over email, through web portals, through load boards, however you want them to book. We aim to provide that single point solution for
Yeah, it's that
our broker
buzzword
customers.
digital freight matching, which everybody still tends to use quite a bit of, which is that. But we're going to talk about something a little bit different today because you and I had a chance to talk last week, and we also spoke. I spoke with some others of your colleagues at Parade this week, and it sounds like you guys were able to do something in 48 hours that I would say a year ago, or even maybe 6 months ago, you would not have been able to do that. You want to talk a little bit about that and what we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, very excited about what we've been able to unlock with GPT. But I know you had the chance to play with Chat GPT. Maybe the audience might have as well. But you've been able to bang out some really cool prompts on GPT as well.
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit. I've been looking from a messaging standpoint. It's been fascinating to see what it can do from that standpoint. I'm not a developer, so I don't think of it from a coding perspective. But you guys are doing quite a bit of that. And I actually put a poll out recently, or just to this morning, on LinkedIn about how people are using Chat GPT. And it was interesting to see some of the results here. It's a new poll I just put out today. We had 35 quick votes this morning, and almost half of the people haven't even tried it. They haven't even used it. Only a quarter are using it monthly.
Huh.
So it's still, I mean, it's new, but those early adopters, I guess they're too busy slinging freight to to mess around with Chat GPT. But it hasn't picked up a lot of use. But there's a lot of possibilities here that we need to talk about today. What's the one that you guys are working on, or that I think I read it on LinkedIn today. You guys just announced it yesterday or today. This carrier verification email thing that you created in, I think, less than 48 hours using Chat GPT. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. Well, let's back up a bit. What is Chat GPT for those 50% of folks that said they have not used the tool? What's taken the world by storm, and you might have seen it on the headlines, is, well, there's this new tool called Chat GPT, and it's this generative AI technology which enables really computers to start synthesizing information as well as generating and comprehending responses. And this is really, really exciting. The underlying algorithm is called an LLM, or large language model. And this is really driving a new era of compute. And I think in terms of how big this is, there were other revolutions that came before this. We're here today streaming on the internet, but the internet revolution kicked off in the 90s or so. That was a huge wave of new technologies, new ways of being, connecting with one another. The mobile revolution was another, and that came about come the iPhone. What was that, 2006, 7 or something like that? Unlocked a huge era of productivity and how people communicate as well. And this, we believe, and I think many others too, this LLM wave, or this GPT wave, is really a new way of working with and having computers solve problems in different ways. And so we're incredibly excited about what it can do, not only for productivity, and like that app that you just mentioned we created in the span of 2 days, but also what it has in terms of applications for freight as well. We're working its way into our platform as well. But the example that you just mentioned, one problem that we kept hearing is that fraud is on the rise, as you may know.
Biggest problem for freight brokers today is fraud. Probably the biggest challenge.
When the freight economy is a little rough, it definitely weird things start happening out there. Double brokering, identity fraud is another form of the issues out there. There's theft.
Right.
There's a lot of different problems. I think it's going to take a coalition of a lot of different tools. I think some exciting announcements earlier today, where folks are also trying to tackle it from a finance data angle, which
Correct,
is awesome. and we want to help do our part. And so we thought, hey, what can we do to help just put one small contribution out there to help really back down carrier fraud? And what's great about the Parade Freight Network is that we're able to actually see all this freight activity across various brokers and the carriers. And more importantly, who are you sending the rate cons to? And a lot of the fraud out there that we have seen is around carrier emails. And so, how do you make sure the carrier emails are real? And so we thought, right, we can help anonymize all this data and really put out a solution that helps benefit the entire industry and just make it a little more safe with our tools. And so, all right, let's go do it. This idea came about last week on Thursday as we were just brainstorming what we could do. And really in the span of kicking it off, we started building it. And what's amazing is that we brought in just a small squad together. We got GPT on the side, and we basically asked it, I myself am not in the weeds anymore developing code, but the three of us just with GPT is powering the technology on how do I build a front end app? So we just asked it, like, build us a front end app to help us launch this new carriers.fyi website. And we want to build the front end, we need to build the back end. And it got 80% of the cruft out of the way. And then the rest of the team then piled in to like help tune the knobs, make sure the data is connected, make sure everything's secure. And that's how we were able to launch this new tool that's, I think, very helpful for the industry, but just in such a short amount of time. Would have taken us weeks, but in the span of really 2 days with volunteer effort across the team, we're able to get some high impact projects out. And so I'm super excited on what it can do to enable our team to just start writing code and building products faster.
Yeah, I mean, you said the brainstorming session happened last Thursday. I mean, that's a week ago, right? I mean, this wasn't even really a project until Thursday, Friday at the earliest of last week. And here on, Thursday, you're this week you're launching, or at least, putting information out there about it. I mean, that seems pretty impressive from a time efficiency standpoint and what it could mean moving forward. Something that would take 3 or 4 weeks or maybe longer, takes really 48 hours to get an MVP in place. That's incredible. And as you're talking about these revolutions that happen, one of our favorite movies in our family is a movie called Hidden Figures. It's about NASA. Some people might remember that. But that was when they went from having computers, which were people, that was actually their job title was computer. They'd compute these crazy numbers. And then they got an IBM for the first time, and those jobs went away because IBM could compute thousands and thousands of numbers in the time that it takes them to compute one equation. And it's those revolutions that literally just change everything going forward. Austin says it's a game changer for him. Joseph says he uses it every day. How often are you using GPT for work or for personal? I know you're using it every day, but how often, like, is this right next? Is it up all the time? Are you using it for a lot of, like, I want to hear more about it.
It's probably like 5 times a day for myself, if not more, as it really helps break down knowledge barriers across the board. Example being, I think we're just brainstorming some sales copy with one of our SDR team leads. And all right, well, this Trey likes golf. Let's just pretend for a second that Trey is a shipper out in Ohio, and I don't know, see a guitar back there and really likes guitars. Write me a cold email that will, really talk towards your interest in golf, guitar, maybe make it a little punny, and at least kickstart a draft for me to then have something that is sendable to a new prospect. And so, I don't, and one, this is not a person named Trey, but that's a really great example of how we just used it earlier this morning on brainstorming some tactics on how we're going to do some cold outreach to some broker prospects. And so, like, that example placed to what I just described is one example of how we use it every single day, where at least get the thinking engine going, get the first draft out there so that instead of sitting and getting writer's block for 20, 30 minutes, thinking about how to perfect my grammar and what I want to say, just getting the creativity flowing faster so that it took us 5 minutes to go do that and send that email. So I think things like that, things like code, I think it's just all across the board. And that's why it's so amazing where the general purpose of it all is truly, truly amazing.
That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. Listen, we want to get the street crew in here to talk about this. I'm sure they might have some questions as well. We got some comments in there. We'll talk about those as well. So everybody, please give it up for our good friend out at Marco Island today. You know him as the Bodacious Cowboy. Give it up for Jeff Dickinson in the house today.
How's it going, my friends?
Good. How are you, my friend? Look, I don't even recognize you. You're not in your office. You know, if it went for the
This
mustache,
is my
I
office.
know who you are.
It's been my office for the last week. The Bodacious Cowboy coming from Marco Island at JW Marriott.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Have you used Chat GPT at all? Have you checked it out?
No, have not.
Okay, so you're in the 50%. All right, we'll have to change that. Maybe after this show, that will
There you
change.
go.
I know.
There
Well,
you
it's good
go.
to see you, my friend. We got to get
glad
the
to be
rest of
on.
the crew in here. Okay, so Anthony, listen, this guy has the best walk-up music of everybody on the team. We've kind of made that the case so far. And you know him. Coming to us from Armstrong Transport in Boise, Idaho. Give it up for the freight sensei, Scott Watanabe. There he is. Yep.
For those of you
You have to do the hand motions, Anthony, if you know him. If you don't, okay. Look here. Here we go.
10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, 100%
reason to remember the name.
That is like a
Friday. What's going on?
That is a Scott Watanabe classic right there. Your mic is not muted. I mean, what is going on today?
It was muted up until remember the name.
Well, you look good. You look good either ways, and you got the nice hat going there today.
I'm officiating a wedding tomorrow, so I'll send that in the boards of pictures of the week for next week. But I have the dress rehearsal, so I'm rocking my greatest.
Oh, nice. Oh, you're actually officiating a wedding.
I am. This is going to be like number 10 for me. So.
Oh wow, it's a regular. Is this a part-time job to get paid for this, or is this all voluntary?
No,
work?
it's mainly for my military friends. They just I don't trust anybody except for you. And I've always been the faithful guy in the service, and so they look to me for that. And so I did one, and they're like, "Yeah, we'll just have Watt do it. We'll have Watt." So yeah, Rev Watt is what they call it. That's my Twitter handle. No, it's not, but it should be. Cool.
I love it. And you know Anthony. You guys know each other.
Yeah, we've been working together for probably 2.5 years now.
Yeah,
I can't even remember that.
Scott.
So. Yeah, it's very good to see you.
Is this wedding by chance in the Bay Area? Because I am going to a wedding tomorrow, and I'm going to rehearsal.
It's here in Boise, downtown at the Capitol Event Center. So,
oh man, you could have been heckling there, Anthony. You could have had a good time with that. You know, that could have been fun. I know that guy. Oh, it's so good. All right, coming to us from Denver, Colorado, and Talent Solvers. Give it up for our boy Coleman Ruffin.
Are you working? What kind of work do you do?
There it is. Yep.
Oh yeah, love it.
Okay, now Anthony, listen. Coleman is from the Bay Area. All right.
Yeah.
So, me being a Chiefs fan, we still talk about his Raiders, who are no longer in the Bay Area, but we talk about them a lot. Because they stink. We have a good time with it. Coleman's easy, easy punching bag on the show. Just want you to know that.
Stink might be an understatement. They are very bad. But I was going to say at the beginning of the show, you were like, oh, you're spoiled out in the San Francisco area with the great weather all the time, not like the Midwest. Misconception. The Bay Area actually does get a lot of interesting weather being right on the coast, fog, rain, all of that fun stuff. So it's not exactly the same as traditional California, but still phenomenal out there.
Interesting. It's got to be better than the Midwest, though. I mean, I
would agree with that 100%. After living in Chicago for 8 years and in Denver now, it is still much, much better. But really quick, Scott, if you have a script that you have for when you officiate these weddings, can you send it over my way? Because I'm officiating a wedding in 2 months and I have no idea.
I got
what I am doing.
3. So it all depends. So if you want a lot of Jesus juice, I got one with that. I got some that's just like pure agnostic. I got some that involves the crowd. It's fun.
Give me all 3. And actually, going back to one of the topics today, maybe that's a perfect prompt for Chat GPT. Let's get started there, right?
Like I seriously like this one. I'm glad that you said something, because this wedding, I was like, you know what? I kind of want to do something different. So let's. I'm gonna bring in Chat GPT. But then she's like, oh, I need something specific. I was like, fine. But I'm still like, I have it pulled up right now, and I'm like, I'm wondering, because I got to get my Freight Tip Tuesday ideas for recorded on Friday. So
I love it. Oh, are you muted, Trey?
I did. I coughed and I forgot to unmute. It is interesting to think about, like, creating a script for a wedding, or I think that legal is going to be a big aspect for Chat GPT. For example, draft me a referral agreement, but for whatever. I could see how that just get it started. Anthony, you made a good point. It just gets the process started. It doesn't necessarily replace right now, but it's more of an assistant, a tool to help out. Is that the way you categorize it?
I think so. I think it's like a 10x productivity for, well, all right, we got to hand this off to our content specialist that's going to review all the tone, the messaging behind it, the content, and then the peer review. All right, well, we got to then slot this into some project queue. We got to wait for the turnaround. And it just, why don't we just get it turned around a little faster? Like ask Chat GPT to help kickstart the draft. They can do grammar correction as well, and just really start getting the process moving forward so that everyone can become a more generalist and put on a few different hats. And I think that's really exciting.
Hey, shout out for the generalists in the crowd, because that's who I am. I've always been a generalist. I've always been a utility player, and
seriously?
Used to suck, but now now it might actually make sense. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, we got some more people in the green room we got to bring in. So coming to us from Colombia, I believe, our good friend from Savant, Juan Baena, in the house.
What's that mean? I gotta choose a song for this.
You do. If you don't shoot a song, I just get to pick one. So that's just the way it goes, man.
Yeah. He's used that every single time for you, Juan. So I just assumed you picked it. So that's
no, I'm very bad at these type of things. I think I have one.
It's a decent song. There's a lot of good vibes to go with it. So it's not the worst thing in the world. There's definitely worse songs out there, that's for sure.
As long as it's not the Farby World one.
You need to get some reggaeton. I want to hear some reggaeton on this show. Get some good reggaeton.
I can do that.
Right? Yeah, yeah, get some of that. Okay, also, we're going to bring in, this is for later in the show, we're going to bring him right now anyway, so they can be part of this discussion. From Edge Logistics, you got to give it up for the marketing specialist, Pam, Nebia, and David Farby. And they get Ice Ice Baby. That's what they get. They get a little, David, every word to this song, I bet.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a classic. How could I not?
Okay, well, let's hear it. Let's go. Let's hear it. When it comes up, do you dance to it? You got a little dance to it?
No, I got it.
Okay, this is like...
I got the chorus.
We got to do a virtual dance battle someday.
Like a harpoon daily and nightly. Oh my gosh, that's like 7th grade throwback right there. I'm an old guy. That's what that is. What's up? How are you guys doing?
Good. Happy to be here.
Good to see you guys again. I can't wait for this afternoon. The reason why David Farby is here, everybody, is because we're going to have another episode of Farby Fridays, which you don't know what that is. You're going to find out here in a little bit, but it's awesome. We're going to have a good time with that. But before that, we got to keep talking about GPT. So this is let's go back to Anthony's example so far. So you guys saw an issue, which is fraud and theft and really kind of carrier verification. You put something together real quickly to figure it out. But what else could we do with GPT in transportation? Does anybody have any ideas? Or Anthony, what else have you guys thought about? Like, what else comes to mind?
Communication.
There are so many possibilities on what's possible here, and some of them we've got a webinar coming up to demo them on Tuesday of next week. But just to preview a little bit what we're working on, it really takes language to another level where how do we drive digital adoption without digital adoption, which makes no sense. But a lot of what we do,
Have a good weekend.
See, Jeff.
What Scott might be able to attest to is, look, you got to use the tool on your TMS to insert the data here, insert some data there in Parade, and that helps makes the system smarter. But from a data collection standpoint, why can't we just read all the emails? Why can't we just scrub all the phone calls? And so what some of the demonstrations will showcase next week is around leveraging GPT's technology, not only to help transcribe every single phone call that happens in the carrier sales team, but not only look at every single email, but start synthesizing key information out of it. Oh, we got 20 phone calls coming in from DAT. Well, what was said? Like, which loads were they talking about? 9 of those phone calls didn't end up in anything. Why can't we store that as data, though? Because that carrier did call in. They were interested. We just needed to store that data. And that's part of the coaching of data entry that a lot of carrier sales teams are pushing their teams to do in terms of like getting really good carrier profile data entered into the system. But why can't technology just assist and help our customers do that and automatically not only listening to these phone calls, but pull the right information out? And so there's we talked about generation earlier on like how we were able to build apps really quickly, write emails really quickly. But the other part of it is it's powerful. The GPT technology is so powerful to synthesize what's being said. And that synthesis comes in the form of, in freight, I think, a lot of data collection. We're always trying to learn more about our carriers. We're always trying to learn more about our customers and how we get that into a standard format to really help ultimately cover freight better and win more business.
Yeah, this is what I think is fascinating.
Very interesting.
Talk about this is that we don't have to change the way that we work. This will actually plug into what we do as opposed to us having to change what we do. So for example, if we make phone calls every day, if that's a part of our job, this could synthesize that information and then do something with it that we ask it to do. We don't have to change our workflow. And that blows me away that this is actually something that can implement or just plug right into what we do as opposed to us having to change our workflows to make it work. Am I summarizing that correctly?
Yeah, digitalization without the digital adoption.
I love that. Absolutely love that. Juan, you look like you want to say something, or maybe you just
what you were saying just makes a whole lot of sense. If you can plug that into compliance and start identifying those dispatchers that are brokering for 20 different trucks, or they're giving freight to the wrong, to trucks that are not actually the ones you're negotiating for. That can take compliance just to another level, preventively identifying frauds and potentially risky carriers. And that just came to me while you were just talking about it. It's like I had not even thought about it and just clicked in right away.
Yeah. And it's probably one of those things that as you start to think about it, you get new ideas and new ideas and new ideas. And I'm curious, like David, what do you do at Edge? I don't even know what you do. I know that you're really good at guessing people, or not guessing, but figuring out people's names. But what do you actually do over there? What's your role?
No, you'd be shocked to know I do something other than Farby Friday. No, I actually work with a book. I manage a book of business for one of our carrier sales reps here at Edge named Nick Douglas. He has a number of different customers that he's brought on, and I essentially service them, make sure that loads are picking up on time, keep transparent communication, ensuring that they're always informed where their loads are, get PODs. So essentially, what you talk about as far as that implementing something seamlessly, that would actually be very invaluable for me because, I have sort of my methods. I start each day, texting the drivers to secure PODs. If there was something I could do, on the front end to make sure carriers were legit and it wasn't, reinventing the wheel, no pun intended, I would certainly be open to the prospect. So, but essentially I manage a bunch of different accounts for one of our sales guys here.
Yeah, I mean, I can almost see where, let's say that, David, you get hired, let's go 5 years in the future and you get hired at Edge for the first time, somebody like you, and along comes GPT as your assistant to work together. And it's a part of your standing operating procedures from day one is all of these things you just talked about that you do every day that are somewhat probably repetitive. that it could almost do some of those things for you, and you could focus on other tasks. Like it's just fascinating to think about I think about that with marketing, Pam, like creating content, creating email sequences, creating, a slide deck or whatever it might be. Like there's going to be uses for that as well. It's fascinating. Have you used GPT yet, Pam?
I have not. I'm really excited for it. I mean, just even on like a blog perspective, I mean, we get writer's block, and this could be such a game changer for my day to day. I'm really excited for it. Yeah, I've been reading on it a lot, so I'm really glad that I'm actually joining this session, and listening to Anthony has been really, really interesting. Yeah,
it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, we had a chance to chat, and I was like, okay, I got to have this guy on. And yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go right past Coleman.
I know, we're all
what we're doing.
And I think that's honestly one of the most exciting parts about it, is that we are literally just scratching the surface. Obviously, Anthony and his team are pretty well.
They're a little bit further than we are.
Yeah, a little bit further than we are. But even from an overarching technology standpoint, again, that is still just getting the feet wet, if you will. I mean, can you imagine what it's going to look like in a year or two after it's been more refined, a little bit more developed, and it's just going to continually advance?
Exciting and scary.
Yeah. Well, very much so.
And that's a whole other part of it, is what can it do in a scary way? Like, what can it do? But Coleman, you and I have talked about this offline. It's like, how can we use this in our day-to-day jobs? How can we use this to be more efficient? I love being a little bit more of a solopreneur, a small team kind of a guy. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, how more efficient could we become? Not have to work harder, but just we could actually get more done with the same amount of time, service more clients, potentially grow, but not necessarily have to have a massive team, because it's kind of nice having a smaller team and a little bit more intimate in that regard. So I don't know. It's kind of blowing my mind as well, just thinking about what the possibilities are.
Yeah, and going back to what Scott said, we've all seen Terminator and iRobot, right? That's obviously one extreme to this. And then another big topic of conversation that's come up through Chat GPT and some of these technology advances is that it's going to take people's jobs. And I'm a pretty firm believer of, yes, it's going to maybe eliminate some jobs in the sense of redundant tasks, but I also think it's going to create more jobs, because that's every technology
has always done that. That's right.
Every technology that's ever been created, everybody's like, oh my gosh, this is going to eliminate XYZ jobs, but it creates more on the back end. So again, from not only a technology standpoint, but from a working standpoint, I'm very curious to see what happens over the next couple of years with it. And again, I think it's going to be nothing but good that comes out of it, with the exception of the Terminator and iRobot.
there could be some bad things that come out of it. We've seen technology do that. So Anthony, I know that you had a time stop. I want to be respectful of that. I think we might be a little bit over that, but real quick, what's the best way that people can learn more about Parade, about what you guys are doing, and about this webinar you guys have coming up?
We are located virtually at parade.ai, and they'll have details there on our webinar, but do check it out. We've been really cooking up some amazing stuff, and we'll showcase some of that on Tuesday next week.
All right. So if you guys can come up with a viable app, a product in 48 hours, surely those of us on the call here, we can come up with something, a new blog, or figure something out. So we'll see what we come up with pretty good. Anthony, thanks so much for being on the show. Really appreciate it, man. We'll have to have you back on when you can last the full hour and hang out with us a little bit longer. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me,
man.
Thank you, Anthony.
Good to see you again, bud.
That's Coleman there, that's for sure. Okay, so listen, I got to tell you guys, like when I spoke with Anthony the first time, it got the wheels cranking of like, dude, what's possible? What could actually happen out of this? And I still don't have the answers, but I've thought about it a couple of ways. Like for me, because of the podcast that we do, especially my Standing Out podcast is more one-on-one. Creating a transcript and then creating a blog from that and not having to actually write it. Like that's a huge lift. I mean, that's a huge efficiency play, and creating fresh content for your website. And you can just go in and tweak it a little bit as you need. It gives you a good starting point. I mean, it's absolutely
Blythe did a blog about this. She uses copy.ai in regard to that too. And I started doing that using Armstrong's. They create the blogs, and then I do like a micro blog to help prevent that, just using some of that. And I said, hey, let's condense it, and I throw some of my mannerisms in there, but to make it a little more meat. But it's like it's helped with just writer's block on content creation. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I'm thinking in my mind, like, could I just put a link to one of my podcasts in Chat GPT and say create a transcript or write a blog from this, like, and even eliminate some of the steps we're doing today, just to get right to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's pretty wild to think about that. Or every time that it somehow automated to where every time a podcast drops, it just does its thing.
It's possible. It'll happen. That's awesome. That's actually a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if we can make it happen. But we'll go with that. Ryan Mohammed, what's up, man? Thanks for joining.
Logistic Monk in the house.
Good to see you. Good to see you. And Julie Fritz says, it'll create better jobs and eliminate fodder positions. It's definitely going to thin the herd a little bit from this and create some more efficiencies, but we'll probably create more jobs. There's soon enough, there's going to be a job post out there for GPT prompt specialist or something like that. I mean, that's going to be a job coming up real soon. I'm pretty sure.
Well, also GPT observers and hey, make sure they're representing us in a way that we want to be represented as well. So the last thing you want to do is get poor branding.
Yeah, I know. It's just wild, but it'll be interesting to see. So from this group here, so I've used GPT. Coleman, you've used it.
Oh yeah.
Scott.
Oh yeah, a little bit. Okay. I'm using it right now.
Pam, not yet. David, have you played around with it?
I have not used GPT yet. I will definitely have to look into it because it sounds like it can do good things for my daily routine.
And Juan, have you used it yet?
I've been using it.
You've been using it. Okay.
Yeah, it's my little cheat sheet when I get writer's block and I have to
I wonder if it translates too, Juan. So you can hey, I have
it's
an
really
idea.
Good translating too.
Yeah, that's
ridiculously good translating.
It's funny though, I feel like it's not, I've been watching all these videos and everything. I'm like, this can't be real. It's just too good to be true. So I've been doing all this research first to see, all right, once I dive into it, I know I'm going to be in this world and I'm not going to be able to get out of that. But yeah, I mean, even just for email marketing alone, I think this could be so huge.
Our BDRs we have one BDR that's been testing the waters and he sends me scripts every once in a while. He's like, this is what it just did because I asked him this. I was like, that's a great email. Did you write? He's like, no, I didn't write that. Chat did. I was like, don't tell anybody.
Ask it for 15 different types of templates for introduction emails and it will give you all of them.
That's
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, we've used it before on social media ideas. So write me 3 social media posts about X and then kind of see which one you like and then you can tweak it a little bit and then you put it out there. But Pam, I liked your thought about that about writer's block because I definitely consider myself a writer, but sometimes when you're a writer, you get inspired at the weirdest times. And if you're not really inspired to write, it's hard. It's hard to get started or it's hard to put some ideas together. So even though I consider myself a writer and when I'm inspired, I think I write really well. When you have to hit a deadline, when stuff has to be on a schedule and you don't have the freedom to just wait till you're inspired, for example, this could be a really big help in that regard. So there's just, it's going to be really interesting to see how that all plays out. Here's what I would say. I think that we as people often find ourselves too busy to take the time to check out new technology until it's fully adopted. Mm-hmm. Instead of saying, hey, let me be on the front end of this. Let me play around with this and see where this goes. And who knows what's going to maybe come out of that, but I feel that way whenever I miss something for a long time and then I finally implement it. I'm like, why didn't I do this earlier?
100%.
Why didn't I take the time to do that earlier?
Well, what I'll be doing after this? I'll be on that GPT game. So
yeah. Will's gonna be like, what? We don't have any marketing material coming out this weekend. Be like, listen, I'm on Chat GPT. Shut up, man. I got to figure this thing out.
This is a question for the group too that actually somebody had messaged me, and so my wife is in advertising, and I know that this is actually a big thing that they've been talking about is what does it look like from a plagiarism perspective, right? Because especially from if it's utilizing images, if you say, hey, write a blog and have some images, she is very in depth about copywriting infringement and all of that. So, I mean, question for everybody, do we think that what it's spitting out is some sort of form of plagiarism? Is it really just taking a bunch of little pieces from the internet and putting it together? I guess, what do you all think about that?
That's a really good question. I think it's a little bit of everything, I mean, if it's taking all these pieces, it just...
it seems like a summary, though, of all this data. Instead of, when I think of plagiarizing, I tend to think of either some sort of intellectual property, like an idea, but also more specifically word for word, writing word for word and that type of thing. It seems like it's not doing that. It's pulling it together and somehow kind of creating something somewhat original
Yeah.
and fresh. I don't know
with
how that's
that
going to play.
too. It also, so if you start messing around with prompts, it cites its sources. So you can actually choose how many websites it's pulling from, and it'll show you all of that. So
you could write a term paper,
I was just
say,
thinking
make
that.
sure that it, you have 10 sources
Yeah.
following MLA format. I'm like,
yeah,
this is just
literally
crazy to
Taking
think
you
about.
back to
Like,
school.
yeah.
it's interesting. I've heard some educational institutions that have banned it, and I've heard others that have embraced it. And I don't know,
Yeah.
like, at the end of the day, who's going to win? Like, which
have to
graduates are going
embrace
to be
it.
more prepared? The
Yeah.
ones who had to go through the laborious process of like learning how to write, or the people who learned how to use GPT more effectively?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely the latter, right? I mean, think about it. Every single tech that's ever been out there, it's the more and more that you're embracing it, I think it's, again, just making people better. My personal opinion, right? I mean, who really knows? But yeah, I mean, that's probably one of the biggest things is from a plagiarism perspective, like what it's going images is a little bit harder. Like that's an easier little cut and dry, but the content that it's producing, curious to see what it does.
Yeah.
We're also at the risk of just becoming lazy to think. That I mean, as a former educator, like that's kind of scary. Like all your, like, you imagine being a teacher, just going through essays and they're all perfect, they're all great, 5 grades, and then the person is actually not using their cognitive functions, and then they go out to life and they just never develop them.
Yeah, but think about this: we've
problem
already
solving
done
and
this.
so on.
We've already
done this. I mean, like when
You
I
think
was growing up,
that's going to accelerate? Like this is just crazy.
I know, but when I was growing up, I probably knew 100 phone numbers. I could just cite them like that.
Oh yeah, that's true. I don't know my
You had
mom's
to.
number if I lost my phone.
And now, literally, I do not know my daughter's phone numbers.
Yeah.
I need to, like, I'm almost embarrassed to say that, but I don't know their numbers because when they got a phone, which was like in the last year, I just put their number in my phone and I call Hannah, I call Naomi, and I don't even know their numbers. Like, it's dangerous, but this is nothing new, Juan. This is just the next iteration of us becoming lazy.
It's cyclical.
Do we have any
Different way of
Dune
thinking.
fans among us?
Any what?
I know
Dune
Dune.
fans?
Not a huge one, but yes.
Duke?
Okay. Dune.
Dune.
Oh,
Dune
Like
fan.
the
The
show?
novels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the
okay,
novels.
I'm not okay.
Great. Okay. The
I'll
Orange
step out of
Church
this conversation. You go ahead.
is like literally
Yeah.
humanity embracing like a religion against AI because
Yeah,
they let
exactly.
it go too far. So it's like it became the brain for humanity until it started controlling humanity.
There will be those fundamentalists, I'm sure. I'm sure there'll
yeah.
be people that will go the other way against it, and think that it's wrong or bad or harmful, or whatever. And it probably can be, just like the internet can be. I mean, the internet's not bad or good. It's how we use it. It's what we do with it, right? And I mean, this is probably going to be very much the same way, I think, in a lot of that.
I'm a very rude
Cal's, of course, a rude dooner. Yeah. Of course he is. No, it's exciting to think what's going to happen. So here's your homework assignment, everybody. Those watching and those here on the show. By this time next week, you should have used GPT at least once, and maybe even put it out on social what you came up with. Because I think we got to learn about this together. We got to figure it out. This is interesting. Ryan said he used it to plan his trip to Chicago. I was thinking about this, going, we like to travel. We're an RV family. Could I put in a prompt to say, find me the most efficient route using interstate highways to hit these 8 cities and book hotel reservations along the way, like using my Hilton Honors account. Like, I bet it's going to do that at some point.
That is, way
for
too
sure.
cool. Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't even seem like it's that difficult, but you probably do that now.
That's a game changer.
Saves you a lot of time, a lot of research.
But this was something Anthony talked about too. This is the digitization without having to change what you're doing. Is the idea that it will be able to use like my accounts to create what I want them to create. So, for example, go book me a flight on my Southwest account for a nonstop flight from St. Louis to Orlando for these dates. Leaving in the morning on the way out and coming back in the evening. Like, it'll probably be able to do that. Like, when you really think of an assistant, it would be, and it's just the next step, because you used to have to call somebody, and you used to have to. Well, before that, you had to go to the airport to buy a ticket. Then you got to call in and somebody else did it for you. And now we do it online. And then before long, we're just going to give a prompt and it's going to do it. Send my wife flowers on her birthday every year, but change up the time of the day that it goes out. Think about that. I would never have to remember to do that again. And my wife would get flowers.
I hope she's not listening to this.
At a different time of the day. Like that. That stuff's probably going to happen.
Variety of times. That is slick.
Yeah.
And you could set it up for every year, just like a calendar, appointment. Just set it up every year. Change the florist that it comes from, and write a different message every, like, I don't know. It's amazing.
There's a story that someone did that post death, and like the next year after he died, his wife still got a book of flowers, but it had a different note on there, and it was like, it's a very heartwarming story. You'll have to look it up, you know. But it's crazy how someone set that up for like years to come. And then I believe the end was just like, if you go to deliver flowers, the instructions to the florist was like, if you go to deliver flowers and nobody answers the first time, check 2 more times. If not, please check the obituary and deliver those flowers to the grave. I'm like,
oh, that is, yeah, that's.
I was like, this deep.
I wasn't planning on crying today, Scott. Come on.
But like, seriously, if you can get Chat GPT to do that, cool. Let's do it.
Yeah.
That's
well. The possibilities are endless. Let me tell you something that Chat GPT will not be able to do. All right, and that is produce an episode of Farby Fridays. It can't. It's not going to do it.
Let's go.
This is duplicate it.
David Farby only. All right, and so listen. So we have picked. We have a person picked. All right. Coleman did the honors for us of picking the person. He shared that information with me, so we have verification of this. We have text proof of this if you need it later down the road, if in case that's the case. And here's how the game is played, everybody. So listen, if you haven't done this, you got to go to TikTok and go to Edge Logistics handle on TikTok, which is just Edge Logistics, I believe, right?
Yeah, Edge_logistics.
Edge_logistics. And you put this on TikTok, Instagram. Where else do you put this?
Typically, yeah, TikTok and Instagram.
Okay, beautiful.
Best,
which is great content for that platform, by the way. You get a lot of likes. It's wonderful. I love it.
Yeah, we got 1.6 million views on one of them, which is
not bad.
Yeah.
Wow,
not bad.
Yeah, we went viral.
And by the way, this is like a testament for people in terms of why they should use TikTok and social media for non-work related stuff, because this has blown up not only David's brand but Edge's brand. Like, it's been huge. I think it's absolutely awesome. So here's how the game is played, everybody. We pick a person who's born between 1900 and 1999, who hopefully David's maybe heard of and has a Wikipedia page, is essentially what we're going for here. And then he's going to guess that person in 13 or less yes or no questions. All right.
No way.
That is the game. All right. Now listen, I have to say, we had him on standing out. We may have stumped him. He had to go to 14 questions. So we're on the rematch here today. But I got to say, if you watch the TikToks, you'll be incredibly impressed. He gets it almost every time. It's unbelievable. So I'm pulling for you this time. All right, I'm pulling for you, David. You get the floor, my friend. Let's go. Go ahead and ask questions, and then Coleman and I more than likely will answer them because we know who it is.
All right, awesome, Coleman. So I'll just get it started for you. My first question: were they born between 1940 and 1969?
That's a yes.
Okay, I was gonna say, I have Trey. Good thing you knew that.
Okay, cool. Were they born in the 60s?
No.
40s?
No.
All right. Were they born between 1950 and 1955?
No.
Even number year?
Yes.
Cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and guess, were they born in 1956?
Yes.
Solid. All right. So how many have I asked there, Trey?
You're at 6. You got 7 to go.
We got a little wiggle room here, right? Is it a male?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it an actor?
Yes.
Yes.
Are they most known for movies?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Was one of their movies, I guess, is there a famous line where there's so many famous lines from it, but does he say, and that's all I'll have to say about that?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it Tom Hanks?
10 questions. He got it. Look at that.
Yes. Good job.
What?
How can you do that?
Okay, that was
How did
too
that
easy.
happen?
That was too easy.
Yeah,
that was way too easy.
I'm glad I got some revenge on this program. I was really losing some pride here, guys.
I let Coleman pick it, and that was probably a mistake. Let's just be honest. That was way too easy. See, Coleman. The next time you do it, Coleman, you're going to be like digging into Wikipedia for somebody.
100%. Well, if you just tell me to pick a random person from 1900 or born between 1900 and 1999, that was literally just the first person that came to mind for whatever reason, because he was born in the same town that I was born and raised in too.
Really?
And I was like, Concord, California.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Who did I pick? Oh, I picked Gene Hackman the first time.
Yeah. Gene
That
Hackman.
was a little bit more challenging one, but I picked Gene Hackman back in the day. But you got it on 14. Actually, let me give you some credit. You knew who it was.
I knew who it was.
But you talked yourself out of it a little bit. You
Exactly.
totally had it.
Clint Eastwood and Sean Connery were also born in that year, so I was like, he kind of got Gene got lost in the shuffle a little bit.
All this.
Yeah, so
1956, Tom Hanks is the main attraction for that year. Hey,
I mean,
Cole,
isn't
were
that
you impressed?
crazy?
Did you like it?
my mind is blown. I mean, so do you just remember everybody's birth year, and then that obviously narrows it down a lot? But like, how do you know that?
Yeah, man, it's wild. I just had too much time on my hands in college, as I said before, right?
Let's tell the story a little bit. So when did you get into, like, have you always read encyclopedias, Wikipedia, wanting to know about real people and information? Like, how did this originate? How did it really start?
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, it's one of those things where I realized, my memory was particularly good on this one subject matter. You know how you're on a Wikipedia page, you'll read about something or someone. The first thing, obviously, that is always at the very top was born this year. And for whatever reason, it shows you the importance of a title or a good hook. I mean, that's the thing that would remain indelible in my brain. So as a result, I would know when all these obscure celebrities were born. And one of my buddies suggested we maximize it by making girls buy us drinks if they weren't able to swim.
I knew it.
That's
I knew it. I knew there was a bar involved.
University days. We've capitalized it in some way here, right?
That's awesome.
That's huge. Did you guys hear that sound effect, by the way?
Yeah.
We got to play that again. Play that one more time. This is my favorite. We're starting to just have a little more fun on the show.
At the end
One
of
of
the
the
orange.
all-time best commercials ever made.
Budweiser.
So good. So let me ask you this, Corey. How did this become? Tell the story again about how this became known at Edge. How did this become a thing?
It's a great question. Molly, who was with us last time we were on the program, she was just kind of going around asking what some of the people here's special talents were. I disclosed, obviously, what this was. And I don't think there's a better way to do so than playing the 13-question game.
Yeah.
And then somebody was like, you guys should make this a weekly thing. I'm like, hey, you can make it Farby Friday, right? Like, just sort of, in a backhanded manner. And then it actually did kind of take off with one video, actually, when I picked, or I was able to discern that it was Matthew McConaughey. It got 1.6 million views. So the rest is history, I guess.
No, it's great. I love it. And I had a history professor in college that when he introduced a figure, he would say the day, month, day, and year they were born, and month, day, and year that they died.
Oh wow!
It was incredibly impressive. Like, anytime he would reference anybody in history, it blew me away. But similar kind of a thing. I'm a maps guy. I used to read maps as a kid. I love atlases. We still have one today. When we take road trips, we have one in the car on the dash, and we flip through it. I love that type of thing. So we all kind of have our thing that we love to just kind of take interest in. And
real quick, I just wanted to mention two sets of people that were born on the exact same day of the same year. You guys want to know, like, two cool ones?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay, so in 1809, I believe it's February 12th, Abraham Lincoln and Charles Darwin were born on that exact day.
Really?
And then October 18th, 1939, Mike Ditka, former Bears, was born the exact same day of the same year as Lee Harvey Oswald.
Interesting.
JFK. So
it's better to share a birthday than a name, though. Let's just say that. Like, if you had to share Lee Harvey Oswald's name, that would be unfortunate to have to live with that for the rest of your life. Birthday, not so bad. I'm really impressed too with famous people that died on the same day, like Thomas Jefferson
and John Adams.
John Adams died on the same. How crazy is that? But not from the same event. Like, they both died of natural causes, I believe.
Yeah, within hours of each other.
That's wild. That's really, really wild. So anyways, pretty amazing.
Well,
David, congratulations. You knocked it out of the park. You got it. We're going to have to definitely make this harder. This may have to become a quarterly thing on Word on the Street. We have, Farby Fridays right here. That could end up being a good thing. Scott's for it. He's up for it. Yeah,
100%.
We'll have to make that happen.
Now that I know that we're getting into, I'm definitely going to pick something way harder next time.
All right, don't get carried away. Don't get too obscure on me. All right.
I was going to say, I feel defeated. Like, that was just a layup that I gave you.
That really was a layup. I mean, you said that, and I almost texted you back. No, that's not going to work.
Now that I have context, I got you next time.
Yeah. Next time it's going to be like some NBA player from the 1960s, born
I'm only
in like
33, right?
1905, something like that. But
we always try to feature, like we get our employees here also involved, and if you guys are up for that, we'd love to do that too. Feature you on our TikTok.
Hey, we could collaborate. You know that.
Yeah, I
you
think it'd be so fun.
Stop
yeah,
collaborating
sure.
with them.
Absolutely collaborate.
I see what you did there. That was funny.
Hey, speaking of collaboration, we've got an event coming up in 2 weeks, and I have to say I'm not quite ready for it. But we have the Word on the Street Tough Mudder Charity Challenge coming up. We are raising money for Suk Strong Foundation. They give financial assistance to ALS patients, and if you guys know, when you get diagnosed with ALS, there's no cure. And it's a terrible way to die. And the things you need at the end of life are very expensive. So we've been raising money for Suk Strong Foundation for 10 years. Our goal is to get to $10,000, and we need you guys to help out. Here's where we're at so far. We're up to $3,900 plus $500 that I got directly. So we're at $4,400. We're almost halfway there. All right. I need everybody who's watching this to go to GoFundMe, click on the link that we're going to put into the comments, or just search for Word on the Street. It's the only one in there. It'll come up, donate. And if you got a company and you want to do some good, become a corporate sponsor with us. Reach out to me, DM me. How do we get Edge Logistics as a corporate sponsor? How do we get the Edge logo on the race shirt this year, Pam? We got to make that happen.
Let's do it.
We'll have to talk after this. We'll
Absolutely.
have to get that.
Yes.
We'll have to get that going. We want to get that goal. We got 2 weeks to do it. We have to do I'm gonna have to do like running with a phone, trying to plead for people to give money during the Tough Mudder. I don't know what we're gonna have to do, but it's going to be a blast. So that's.
I believe in you. I think you can do it.
We're going to get there. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's exciting, and it's also incredibly sad. Here's what we do. We have a golf tournament every year that happens in August, September timeframe. And it gets sold out within 2 weeks. The moment they announce it gets sold out, because all of us want to come back and help out and give as much as we can and help out. The sad part is that they actually invite an ALS patient now, which is great because we get to hand a check at the end of the night to help check and help them out. But you're handing a check to somebody that has a death sentence, and it is heartbreaking. It's crushing. So it's really amazing to be able to tangibly, I'm excited for this money that we're raising, because I know that I'm going to get to watch somebody who really needs it, and their family too, because it's emotionally difficult. People need to take time off and value their time, go on some vacations and do something while they have some quality time left. And so they need that for their family as well. So it's incredibly exciting. And anybody who wants to participate and partner with us, please let us know. Again, go to GoFundMe and give a personal donation. It is tax deductible. They're a 501c3. Or consider becoming a corporate sponsor. We have several different levels, 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,500 that you can give to help us reach our goal. We've had 4 sponsors already. Rock Farm St. Louis, shout out to Brad Reinhardt, platinum sponsor. And then our boy Rob Bussey, BWS Logistics, Greg Roberts over at Matson Logistics, our silver sponsors. And then our good friend Glenn Stebbings over at Logistic Insurance Solutions is a bronze sponsor. And we really appreciate all of them for helping us out. So exciting stuff coming up. I got to get in the gym and work out a little bit before this 9-mile thing, or I may not make it. We'll have to see how it goes. Start an OnlyFans. Kyle,
you're going to
so
go
much
sketchy one of these days.
That's definitely Kyle's solution. Is start.
Why don't you just hop in? You got so many comments on this thread. You're totally editing, right?
I
use
love it.
Chat GPT to edit it.
Exactly. Okay, we got to finish with a light version. Normally we do a larger version. We got to finish with a light version of This Week in Pictures, and it's just about me this week, so I apologize. But here's what we got. Had a fun time this week. Here's what we got. My daughter and I out on a date night. This is what I love. My daughter's favorite place to go for a date night. Guess what? Buffalo Wild Wings. I mean, does it get any better than that? I mean, I've raised her right, I think. I'm feeling really good about that, Got to go to my first Cardinals game with Brad Reinhardt of Rock Farm and Marcian from Bank of America and so many other people. Had a great time with them and got to see Danny Giffen from Triumph Pay, good friend of mine down there. And look where our seats are. This is amazing. This is where we got to sit right behind the dugout. There's Wayno, Adam Wainwright, Fred Bird, and of course, a close-up right there of the home plate area. So anyways, that's it for This Week in Pictures. Not a lot to show, but we had a good time. David, way to go. Way to knock it out of the park. Pam, thanks for making this possible. Really enjoyed it. Congratulations on that. Okay, so here's our action items. Quarterly Farby Fridays on Word on the Street. And we got to get Edge on Tough Mudder Charity Challenge.
Yeah, let's chat. Yeah, we'll get you guys on our TikToks too. We'll do a little.
Yes, let's collaborate. Let's do it. And everybody between now and next Friday, GPT, go play with it. See what you can do. Have some fun with that. We'll see you guys next week from TIA. We're doing a TIA live show about the conference next week right here at noon Central. So come join us. Until then, have a great weekend. I'm going to dance out to this one because I know this dance. I actually know it.
Have a good weekend, everybody. Oh, man.
Bye, everybody.
All right, stop.